Hey, in this episode, we're talking about another invasive species. In this case, it's autumn olive. Stay with us.
Hi, this is Tim and Joel,
Welcome to Midwest Hunting and Outdoors by Two Dumbasses,
a podcast about the outdoors, hunting, and
and being a steward of the land. Welcome to Midwest Hunting and Outdoors by Two Dumbasses. Tim, we are talking another invasive species that you and I both have confirmed on our properties.
Yep.
However, would consider it not a big problem for us, but certainly is a big problem for some folks and something to be aware of, and that's autumn olive.
Yeah, it certainly exists, right? I mean, so once we got our head around what it was, we could find it.
Yep, and is exactly how it's described, which we're going to go into here, right? So, where do we want to start here with description of autumn olive?
Yeah, let's do that. I mean, there's a lot of lookalikes out there. So, I mean, I thought, I had autumn olive. What I thought was autumn olive is not autumn olive on our property. So it took both of us going out and finding it.
Yeah, I think from a description standpoint, if you're thinking about autumn olive, think in terms of bushes or branches. Go back and look at our honeysuckle episode. So it's similar to honeysuckle in the sense that it's a branching, bushy type plant tree that comes up. Small base, small branches come out of it, and it just overshadows all of the plants underneath of it.
And located on the edge.
I think the tail for me is they're kind of tear-shaped leaves, and the underside of them are typically silver all throughout the year, if not all the year. Yep. So if the wind's blowing or whatever and you see streaks of silver out there, you probably got some autumn olive.
Yeah.
Later in the season, they will have berries on them. And other than that, description-wise.
Again, they get up to about 20 feet. In fact, the ones we found were pretty much 20 feet.
Yeah. The sad part about these autumn olives is that back in the day, in the 50s, 30, 40, 50s, 60s, people were actually getting cost share money to plant autumn olive because there are a lot of big positives with this plant. Some of the positives is they produce a lot of fruit in the form of these berries. They are edible for folks, but certainly for animals and for birds specifically, they just love them.
Easily propagated.
So the second thing is that this pretty much will grow in anything. It's a nitrogen producing plant, so which typically is a good thing. You think about soybeans and clovers and things like that produce nitrogen, usually a soil fixing plant, not in this case. So they quickly found that, once these things get going, you can't stop them. It's like kudzu, right? Kudzu. Yep. So, Tim, anything you would add as far as the description or?
No, I don't think so. I think the other thing is the plants are usually, they're offsetting, right? So we have a plant right here, or a leaf right here, and then down just a little bit, and you have another one. So they're kind of offsetting a little bit, so they're not equal. They're not right across from each other. Also, that as you see the shape, there's no sawtooth on here. It's kind of a teardrop, if you will.
Yeah. Once you identify them, and we'll include tons of pictures to try to help you identify them. Once you identify them, they are pretty noticeable to be able to pick out and see out in your property.
Yeah, like you said, like if you see the wind and you're out on a windy day and they're blowing in the wind, because they're somewhat of a wispy plant, you'll see that silver.
Silver is a giveaway
yeah.
on these. So let's talk about control. So we, as good conservationists, we love to do control burns and things like that. Unfortunately, with autumn olives, it sounds like it's a 50-50 shot if a control burn is going to control your autumn olive, because they're usually on the edges of your forests. The intensity of the fire doesn't get as hot there, and more times than not, they're going to survive that fire.
Yeah.
Could mow them down, Tim, but what's the problem with mowing them down?
Well, mowing them down, I mean, what you're going to do with any shrub is it's probably going to come back even thicker and more coarse, and we've seen that with honeysuckle. So if you're going to cut them down, then, and that's I think what they suggest is you want a mechanical plus a chemical treatment. So if you're going to mow them down, then the next thing is you've got to put some chemicals on them to take them out.
Yep, so let's talk about the herbicides that we're talking about here. So you can basil bark spray these. You can leaf spray them with glyphosate, high concentrated glyphosate. I think we read 20% glyphosate,
Yep.
which is a heavy dose. It's about 50-50. But we'll kill it. They recommended Tordon and Spike 20, which are...
A couple of effective, here's the cool thing. I use a lot of Tordon. But you have to be super duper careful with that Tordon because the half-life of that chemical is super long. We talked to Jeremy Cochran, he's not a big fan from the Iowa DNR tree biologist. And he basically said hey, people squirt way too much of that stuff on there and that half-life, and might be 20 years before something can grow there again. Whereas if you're judicious, and that's what we try to do is just enough to wet the tree where you've cut it, I think it'd be pretty effective. But glyphosate, here's the con to glyphosates. These days it's pretty expensive at 20%. And you're using quite a bit. And the best time to use that is to where it's most effective is during the summer months.
Yep. While it's flowering and while it's producing berries.
When the chiggers are out.
And when the chiggers are out. So, see that episode, right? Right. So, another sad story, right? Really, if you think about it, because here's a plant that was introduced into our area with the hopes of producing good habitat. And there are a lot of positive things with it, but did not know the negative effects of it, specifically how easily it spreads. As we talked about, nitrogen producing, which in most cases is pretty good, but in this case, it produces more nitrogen than the other plants around it need, so it chokes off the other plants, and then it produces more of its own plant, and then it can just pretty much grow in any kind of soil that you want. Coupled with, the birds are attracted to the berries, and they're spreading these around everywhere.
Like wildfire.
So the best we can do here is control it. And we can control it by herbicides and really, cutting it down and then dosing the bark or the remaining stump with glyphosate or Tordon or Spike 20.
Another good time to find these also, if you're looking to do some eradication and finding where they're on your property, is when they're blooming in the spring. Now, there's a lot of things that are blooming in the spring. You might confuse these leaves with wild plum early in the spring, but again, you go back to the leaves. It's about the silver leaves.
Yeah, is there anything, Tim, that we missed on here?
I think we ought to talk about the health benefits.
Yeah, okay.
There's just so we just talked about all the bad things about this plant, but there are some good things.
A lot of good things. That's honestly why I was introduced for the most part, but it's just out of control is what it is. So, high in vitamin A, C, and E. Rich in iron.
Yep.
Right. Sorbic acid and antioxidants.
Yep.
You can actually make tea out of the leaves, and the berries are edible. So people make jams and jellies and other type of condiments out of the berries. Just make sure you have 100% identified it, because there's some other plants similar to this that have berries, and those berries are poisonous.
100%.
Yep. Did I miss any benefits?
No. Well, we talked about, so some of you guys may not know, Joel and his wife actually dabble in winemaking. You could actually ferment these berries and make a wine, which is somewhat intriguing.
Yeah. Now we tried a couple of these berries. They're pretty well. They're not ripe.
A little tart.
They're very tart. But again, you could add. I think I could see where they would make great jellies and jams for sure.
Yeah.
And a nice tart wine goes a long way on a winter night. Right? So,
Yeah.
cool. All right, so check out your property for autumn olive, and if you have any questions or comments, zip them our way, and we'll try to help any way we possibly can.
We'll throw in a bunch of photos and stuff like that. There's a lot of lookalikes out there. Those are things that are non-edible, and just to be a watch out for.
But until next time, be safe, have fun, and get outdoors. Thanks for listening or watching our show. We have some exciting topics and guests coming up.
We ask that you subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
We look forward to hearing your suggestions for topics,
Questions and comments. This is Two Dumbasses signing off. Until next time,
be safe,
have fun, and get outdoors.